Good evening, guys. So excited to have you here. Gonna take just a couple minutes and we'll get started. Try and get it shared out. Taking me just a minute. Invite. So we're gonna get started. Tab's not going to be able to go the full time tonight. She has some company, but she is going to get on here. Brandy, I'm hoping, is able to get on with us. She was going to hop on and chat with us. Brandy, are you there?
I'm here.
Yay!
I
How are
just
you
can't be
feeling?
on the live because my face is numb still
Hey.
from the dentist.
Hey, we've all been to the dentist. We know how that feels. So we're glad to have you. So Shannon is not going to be on tonight. She's doing VBS tonight at her church. So always important to be there with the kids. Tab is going to get on as soon as I see her in here. I'll send her an invite. She might be on just a little bit later, or she might be leaving a little bit early. She has some company. So I'm very thankful that Brandy's able to get on with us tonight. It was a crazy day at work. I was supposed to send Brandy some things that I never got a chance to send. We got balloons. Thanks, guys. Can y'all hear the sound when that happens? Thank you, Brandy. Do you hear the sound on your end when you do that?
Yes, I do.
Okay. I don't know if the other people hear it. I thought I heard it when I sent some to Shannon one night. So we are going to be starting week 2. I'm very excited about it. I'm going to give Tab just a couple of minutes because it's not 7 yet to see if she hops in. Brandy has been on. She gets on in the mornings with me very early a lot of times, and I appreciate it. So she gets on and does that with me. And she has been wanting to come on with us, and we're trying to make it because Brandy's got a lot of knowledge. Her and Tab are a lot alike. So I think that'll be a good bet for all of us. If we can have them on together, send in Tab an invite, and we just want to pray out. If everybody can pray over VBS for Shannon. My church's was last week. I wasn't able to do it because theirs was during the day, and I wasn't able to get off because scheduling. So I'm very sad that I missed it because I love working with the kids. All right, Brandy, did you have a minute to do the recap for week 1? Because I forgot, even though we talked about it last night.
Yes, I did do it. Like I said last night, I did one, but it was like 4 pages long because I like to write. So I was trying to get it to, condense it some. And I just didn't get a chance to print it out. But
That's okay. Would you mind just going over week 1 real quick, and then I'll start week 2?
Yeah, just give me 1 second to pull it up.
Sure. Take your time. Yes, ma'am. This is the study of Ruth. Today we are going to be doing week 2, and it is in Ruth Fields of Grace, which is by Daily Grace Co. They're here on TikTok. And we are doing Ruth 1:19 through 2:20 today. And then Friday, we're going to do our Bible journaling through it. If you missed last week, Brandy's going to go over like a quick synopsis of what we did. I also have those live videos. They are posted on the YT, which is the exact same name as my TikTok name. So if you want to go back and watch it, you can. Hey, Tab.
Hey.
Tab, this is Brandy. She gets in and chats with us all the time in chat. She is going to be on, just not on camera because she was at the dentist today, so you know what that's like when your face is half numb.
Oh, hey, Brand.
Hi.
Tab's sister's name's Brandy.
Oh, nice. Okay. So do you just want me to start talking? I'm new to
Yeah,
this whole thing. Okay.
yeah.
So I just figured we'd have like a little recap for those who missed the first week, including myself. So if you just finished week one, just give us a second and hear us out. But this is for those who didn't have a chance to catch up. So basically, the book of Ruth is just one of the shortest books in the Bible, 4 simple chapters. It could literally take you 14 minutes. I mean, not 14, 15 minutes to read it. It's tucked away into the Old Testament. It's the only Old Testament book named after a non Israelite woman. She was a foreigner, which is speaking of Ruth. And we don't actually, well, I mean, they're debating, okay? Scholars debate who is written by, okay? So it was probably written between 900 and 700 BC. They're not 100% sure who it was written by. Like it hasn't been, I guess, like decided on. There's a difficult. What did you pick up on that tab? Did you have any input on who wrote it or who they think wrote it?
No.
I have. I was like, that's not one of my deep dives. So I have down that it's attributed. So everything that I looked at was attributed to Samuel writing it.
Right. Yes, they
Um,
do. A lot of scholars do assume that. Um, But what's really interesting about it, it wasn't written while the events were actually happening. It was written later. So it was basically a way of explaining David's lineage and celebrating God's faithfulness. And I know you're probably thinking, where did David come into the picture? Because he's really not even spoke about much in the book, but it all connects, to Jesus Christ's lineage. Ruth is obviously a foreigner, which means she's not Israelite. She was a Moabite woman. She moved there. She had a husband and 2 sons. Her husband passes away. That's Amalek. And her 2 sons passed away. After they were married, I'm sorry. Yeah, they were married to Naomi and Orpha. Wait, no. What's her name? No, Naomi. I'm sorry. Naomi's.
Naomi was Amalek,
Yeah,
and
Naomi and
their
Amalek.
sons
And
were
it was,
married to Orpha and Ruth.
and Ruth. Right. I'm sorry. I had it backwards. So that's basic. And where did we stop? Or you stopped on last week?
We stopped on verse 18, which is right after Ruth was telling Naomi that she's not leaving her, she's going with her.
Okay. So I just want to mention that, of course, Naomi, I said Ruth, I'm sorry, Becky, but Naomi was married to Elimelech, I can't really
Uh-huh.
say it. They had 2 sons, Mahalan and Shalon, and they're both were married and they left behind, of course, because they passed away. And this is important to note because whenever the husband or the children pass away and leaves a woman desolate and alone, they have like really no standing in society at that point, no financial, stability or anything. So I guess this is the point. I guess go ahead and take over because that's basically where it picks up, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and read for the whole week, and it is Ruth 1:19 through 2:20. It's very hard for me when I read Ruth to stop. But I'm going to remember to stop. I'm going to stop. So we're starting at Ruth 1:19. I'm going to read in the ESV translation, and here we go. So it starts with Naomi and Ruth return. So the two of them went until they came to Bethlehem. And when they came to Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred because of them. And the women said, "Is this Naomi?" She said to them, "Do not call me Naomi. Call me Mara, for the Almighty has dealt bitterly with me. I went away full, and the Lord has brought me back empty. Why call me Naomi when the Lord has testified against me and the Almighty has brought calamity upon me?" So Naomi returned, and Ruth the Moabite, her daughter-in-law, with her, who returned from country of Moab, and they came to Bethlehem at the beginning of the barley harvest. Now, Naomi had a relative of her husband's, a worthy man of the clan of Elimelech, whose name was Boaz. And Ruth the Moabite said to Naomi, "Let me go to the field and glean among the ears of grain after him, in whose sight I shall find favor." And she said to her, "Go, my daughter." So she set out and went and gleaned in the field after the reapers. And she happened to come to the part of the field belonging to Boaz, who was the clan of Elimelech. And behold, Boaz came from Bethlehem, and he said to the reapers, "The Lord be with you." Then Boaz said to his young man who was in charge of the reapers, "Whose young woman is this?" And the servant who was in charge of the reapers answered, "She is the young Moabite woman who came back with Naomi from the country of Moab." She said, "Please let me glean and gather among the sheaves after the reapers." So she came, and she has continued from early morning until now, except for a short rest. Then Boaz said to Ruth, "Now listen, my daughter. Do not go to glean in another field or leave this one, but keep close to my young women. Let your eyes be on the field that they are reaping and go after them. Have I not charged the young men to not touch you? Have I not charged the young men not to touch you? And when you are thirsty, go to the vessels and drink what the young men have drawn." Then she fell on her face, bowing to the ground, and said to him, "Why have I found favor in your eyes that you should take notice of me, since I am a foreigner?" But Boaz answered her, "All that you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband has been fully told to me, and how you left your father and mother and your native land, and came to a people that you did not know before. The Lord repay you from what you have done, and a full reward be given to you by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." Then she said, "I have found favor in your eyes, my Lord, for you have comforted me and spoken kindly to your servant, though I am not one of your servants." At mealtime, Boaz said to her, "Come here and eat some bread, and dip your morsel in the wine." So she sat beside the reapers, and he passed her roasted grain, and she ate until she was satisfied, and she had some left over. When she rose to glean, Boaz instructed his young men, saying, "Let her glean, even among the sheaves, and do not reproach her. And also pull out some from the bundles for her, and leave it for her to glean, and do not rebuke her." So she gleaned in the field until evening. Then she beat out what she had gleaned, and it was about a ephah of barley. And she took it up and went into the city. Her mother-in-law saw what she had gleaned, and she also brought out and gave her what food she had left over after being satisfied. And her mother-in-law said to her, "Where did you glean today? Where have you worked? Blessed be the man who took notice of you." She told her mother-in-law whom she had worked with, and said, The man's name with whom I work today is Boaz." And Naomi said to her daughter-in-law, "May he be blessed by the Lord, whose kindness has not forsaken the living or the dead." Naomi also said to her, "The man is a close relative of ours, one of our redeemers." Did I read too far? No, I stopped right. He is so sweet to her. He's so sweet to her. I'm just going to read to make sure I didn't miss anything. Brandy, you did great. You know some of the words that I say on here, girl. I said in a live that I want all the souls and forgot to say in heaven. You did amazing.
No, I messed up to the names of Ruth and Naomi. I was just nervous. I never done this before.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great. I mess up names all the time. That's another reason we always tell people, check this against us, because we don't know everything and we say things wrong. All right. So we're going to get started on day one. And it is Fill Us, Lord. Y'all know I got my handy dandy neon pink highlighter. So Ruth pulled out her heart in a beautiful covenant commitment, and Naomi's response was silence. And I actually thought that just that line was powerful because Naomi was like, no, I'm not leaving you. And sorry, Ruth is. See, I did it too. Ruth's like, no, I'm not leaving you. And Naomi's just like, okay. Like, fine. She's not saying anything. She's just quiet. I feel like I would have cried. I would have been like, oh, thank you. Like, but Naomi's just like, okay, just complete silence. Simply because her heart was jaded. She was broken. Naomi was broken. And who wouldn't be? She lost her husband. She lost both of her sons. One daughter-in-law did what she wanted her to do and turned and went back to her family. And she has Ruth, but she's not seeing the blessing she has because she's focusing on everything that she's lost. And it goes on next to say we have the same attitude. It's very easy. I think we all do it and we have that attitude. Why me? Why is this happening to me? Aren't I a good and faithful servant? Why is this happening to me? And for me, it sticks out to me because I've done that. I did that. But the devil can't attack the people he already has. And
and I think sometimes that we all feel that way, right? We all are even scared. Like she, called, consider herself Mara, which means bitter. So we all feel bitter at times. We're all scared sometimes to even admit that we're angry or we're hurt or that we're questioning God or, God, why me? With Naomi here literally renamed herself bitter and God didn't strike her down. Sometimes naming our pain is the most vulnerable honest faith that you can have, and we can just stop pretending we're fine and when we're not, because grief and pain touches each and every one of us, and we need to be able to speak that and go to God with that because he does want us to actually go to him.
yeah, and I think a lot of times, most of us, a lot of my stuff, I've always been like, well, he's got bigger problems. Like, this is just so little. I can just deal with it. I'll just handle it. And he doesn't want us to. He literally wants us to stop trying to carry things ourselves. Um,
Yes, and we do need to keep in mind that this is a season. And yes, seasons are life, is part of life. And it might feel permanent. And it feels like this is just what your life is right now. And I'm sure Naomi felt the same way. But her story shows that God didn't just waste her pain, He didn't abandon her. He, worked on her behalf and she couldn't see it, but outsiders looking in, we can see it, right?
mhm.
So, like, I just think Naomi's like her waiting, her hurt, her grief, everything. That was just her hard season, and she got through it. And the way she came out of it is so inspiring.
I agree. So the next part of it says when we allow bitterness and pride to overtake our hearts, our perception is skewed. So Naomi claims that she went away full, but she's forgetting that she went away because of a famine. So with her short-sighted vision that she has right now, she went away full and she's coming back empty. But what she's not seeing is that she went away full of herself and God emptied her so that he could fill her. And that's one of the things that for me is the hardest when it happens because you do get broken down. And we have to get broken down sometimes because we're not listening to him. We're doing our own thing. We're doing just like the people of these days where they could do what was right in their eyes. That's what we're doing. We're not listening. And it's easy to forget the bad that started our path because what we have right now is bad. So we were good at the beginning, which is exactly what she did. And them going back meant that the harvest would not be just physical, but spiritual as well, which is really kind of meaningful to me. Do you have anything on that first paragraph there, Tab?
About how she left in the family and she returns in the harvest. And I'm sure to some degree, it reminds me of like if Mike took me, if we're had there, let's say there's a famine here and Mike takes me off, and in that culture, like the women doesn't really have a lot to say. So she's
Mhm.
like, you drug me out here to this different land,
Wow.
then you died on me. Like I'm sure there's like, and then my children are not here anymore. Like now she's just not only mad at her husband who's
Yeah.
like, she's mad at the Lord. Hey Ben.
Oh, I love
And
you. Love you.
she's just mad. And you know, I can relate to those feelings when you're just
Mhm.
like, this is not what I wanted, what I asked for, what I expected, and now it's all, you know, rising up inside of me. We've got to deal with it. And in his goodness, he allows us, you know, just like he just allows us. He meets us where we're at and he helps us walk, you know, walk out of it. But I'm just so glad the Lord is so patient and so good and so kind and so loving.
Amen. Can you do me a favor, Tab? Actually, because I forgot to ask you last week when you were talking about, um, well, now I forgot the word. When we were talking about Orpa in the back of the neck, what is it?
Oh yeah, the back of the head. Talk like
I love you. Drive careful.
the one who talks and walks away, who's pretty much
Yeah. Why am I blanking? The pictogram. Can you send me the pictogram one that you used?
the pictograph.
Yeah.
Yeah. From
You can either send it to me or put it in chat in case somebody else wants to look at it too. Because I was actually talking about it with Brandy and how we can look at things and there's just like some scholars believe that Samuel did this and everybody has kind of different ways the words are. Like Bethlehem, it's the house of bread, but Shannon read one that it's the house of meat. Like there's always like little variations. So I like to look at all the kind of different
yeah, all
ways. And I was trying to find the one that you looked at. You said it, and then I couldn't find it in the video. I must have just kept going back and forth. That's it.
I'll send it, but if you look up paleo Hebrew,
Uh huh.
you'll find it.
Paleo Hebrew.
Yeah, it was so it started in pictographs, paleo
Picture.
Hebrew, the pictographs. They started with pictures, right? And we kind of see the little hieroglyphic kind of
Yeah, like hieroglyphics. Yeah.
right to the left, which is very different from us. And it started pictures, and they went to Aramaic. And so some people will say like they don't care about those pictures, but I think they and don't just use only that, but you know, getting your scriptures is so beautiful to add it.
Yeah. To have both things. I agree. Well, it's just like, and Brandy pointed out when she was talking about Naomi talking about, don't call me Naomi, call me Mara, which means bitter. I didn't realize I have heard people talk about how Mara means bitter a lot,
Yeah.
but I didn't realize that Naomi meant pleasant. And I never thought to go back
I
and
was
look
gonna
at what
say,
Naomi meant.
yeah,
And I was like, okay.
I'm not gonna. I don't feel like being nice.
Yeah.
Well, definitely.
I'm
You
also
know,
just terrified to see what Becky means. Don't even look at Rebecca's. um,
Becky, one thing that I did get from this verse, or
uh-huh.
this section, how often do we judge people when they're bitter, when they're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to be a Christian, and they're supposed to be full of joy and all these things? And so many people judge Naomi for being bitter, but she's not a person who just lost a job or lost her boyfriend. She's a person who lost everything, and in that culture, like I spoke in the beginning, this is a culture where women had zero protection without a man, and
Mm-hmm.
she lost it all. And so she's trying to figure out how to survive. And so when she says she's empty and bitter and God afflicted her, maybe instead of us saying things like, that's not faith, or we should probably say, of course she feels that way. Her life fell apart, and I'm going to pray for her. We need to take become a better person in that regard. Some of us, I'm not saying you, but I think
Oh,
that could be
no, I know what you
applicable.
mean because I've done that. I'm like, you don't, and sometimes outside looking in, Naomi's, I think we'd all probably look at it, especially ones of us that are wives or moms, can look at her and be like, oh, I completely understand why she felt this way. But sometimes people are going through things that we look at and we're like, hi, Tara and Taylor. Sometimes I see people who feel like they're struggling or they're bitter, and I'm like, that's really not that bad. Nothing's really wrong right now. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. But to them, it's a mountain. And that's
Yes.
something that I'm working on, because sometimes we'll come in, Tara, we're happy to have you. Hi, Kim.
And bitterness, it's a little, but the hard thing with bitterness is I feel like you can be angry or upset, but bitterness is when like steps past that. So the
Yeah,
hard
it
part
does.
about bitterness are like the roots of anger, and it's much deeper, it's much harder to pull up from the root. And so she was past mad.
Oh, yeah, she was past. She
No,
was,
she was like sitting in it, and she was just like, forget everybody.
100%, which is the next part that I'm reading. So it says, after God faithfully delivered his people in Exodus 14 through the Red Sea, they came to Marah where the water was bitter. In Exodus 15:23 through 25, they grumbled and they complained. Just like Naomi, they had forgotten that God is faithful, that we can always trust him, even when our situation does not make sense. Bitterness prevents us from seeing how God is working, and Naomi could not see the faithfulness of God because she was consumed by her past. And I went past a highlighter and underlined this. She allowed herself to be defined by circumstances instead of by her creator, which is something I did for 10 or 12 years. I don't know. How long was it, Tap? It was a hot minute. I just let myself stay in anger for way too long. And like I've said before, for some reason I thought the church, the religious people literally crucified him, but I thought they should not be mean to me. Like, and I think a lot of people let church hurt stop them. Um, I'm not gonna get too far off topic. I'll do a whole nother thing because I let it stop me. But
It hurt.
what is it?
I said, that's because it hurts.
Yeah, it does. When you think it's supposed to be the people that you should be able to go to. Um, it's, and I didn't have a lot of people in my family that I felt that way with. There wasn't a lot of people, especially after my papa passed, that I thought were close to God or that I could trust with that. Hi, Diana. So when it was church basically making me feel that way, I was like, oh no, fine, just whatever. Y'all are fake. Bye. Like, and my biggest regret from that is I had Jade in church. Austin was going to church, and because I got bitter, my family stopped going. That's actually my biggest regret. But Jade and her friends, they don't chat, but they'll watch us and they talk to me about we talk about. So it's a start. So that excites me. But it goes on to say God was faithfully working through Naomi, even though Naomi could not see with her own human eyes all that he was doing. And that, how often do we not realize until days, weeks, months, sometimes years later what he's doing? Yes, Thomas, he won't fail us. People do. That's a hard lesson to learn. It's a hard lesson to learn. And it's very easy to blame him because why did he let it happen? But he didn't. Our choices lead us on these paths, or other people's choices lead us to things that happen. It's hard. So it's not easy. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy to be a Christian and to follow the Lord. It wasn't easy for him.
Yes.
How's it going to be easy for us? And before we start chatting, it says Naomi needed to learn what many of us need to learn as well. As Martha Snell Nicholson said, God could not pour his riches into hands that are already full. And I just think that that's beautiful. He can't give us more if we already have it all. And if we already have it all, then we're not here. We're not on this earth. But what y'all got? Just thumbs up today. So the first question is, how can you have a biblical response to why me attitude? And I put, by shifting the focus. I was very good. Your mom said she's at VBS, Taylor. She said she had VBS tonight. I'm going to need you to ask her why she didn't tell you she was at VBS. We're going to have a conversation with your mama. I got in her Mr. Penn live earlier, and she was like, I completely forgot I have VBS tonight. And I was like, girl, it's fine. Hopefully Brandy will come in and chat with us. So for me, I put to shift focus from being a victim and put it on trusting that God will hold me. It's very easy to feel like the, oh, why me, poor me attitude for me. I let myself get down and feel like, oh, it's just me. Something's wrong with me. I must have done something. I'm very good at blaming myself and pouring negative onto myself instead of giving it to God.
And it's, I think, something I learned from this, and obviously, with scriptures I referenced, and I took it back to, took it to James because that's where it talks about anger. But a biblical response I would have, that I need to have, doesn't mean that we never get angry. It doesn't mean, like I said, we never doubt or we struggle. But we need to take it to God, like you said, lay it at his feet, depend on him, and not take it to everyone else. Don't put it on Facebook, or I'm sorry, the book, and put it on, don't tell everyone, lean into him. And that's basically what she did. And at the end of her story, she wasn't just surviving, she was actually celebrating. She was part of a community. And that's a testimony to God's faithfulness. So God basically, he gives us the framework. It's just not some kind of, I don't know. It's just something that happens. God builds the framework. He knows our future. He has that plan. And we just got to learn to trust him through that.
Amen. You have anything for that first question, Tab? Because I saw you got up and walked. Okay. So the second one is, how can we be blinded? How can we be blinded by ourselves and miss out on what God is doing? And I put, when I prioritize myself or my thoughts, feelings, my wants, my comforts, or I think that I can control and change what's happening. Because I have always been that person. I was fully that person with Tabitha. I thought, oh, I can make it better. I can fix whatever is happening. I can make it better. I can get them away from the people they shouldn't be around. And I was very good about seeing it for everybody else. Oh, we just started, girly. You're good. I know, Rachel. Sometimes that's a difficult situation, especially with what you were talking about happening last week. So yeah, it's hard. There's a lot of ways that I wish I could be more like Ruth.
Yes. And we need to, it's not always the question, is he working? The question is, we need to ask ourselves, are we open to seeing what he's actually doing? Are we willing to wait on his timing and not put everything on our own timing? Naomi's blindness here wasn't God's fault. It wasn't her lack of faith. It was her bitterness, but thankfully, like Tab says, she didn't lean into that bitterness and live there where it became anger, right? She got out of that eventually. And that's a redemption story in my eyes, So one thing that I find that I'm often blind to, I guess you would say, is, waiting on the timing and not feeling, or like waiting on the timing for anything. If you want to wait for healing, or wait for, you want to start a business and you want to jump the gun and just do it without conversing with the Lord first or doing it for his glory. We seem to fall flat on our face. And that's because, we didn't go to him first and we didn't, uh, like we talked about today, Becky, we're doing things for his glory. And that's what we're here doing. That's why we're doing this. And I'm thankful that you just let me join in when I have no clue what I'm doing.
You're doing a good job. And you have a lot of knowledge, and I think that people have different knowledge and they know different things. And I also think that it's great for people who watch Bible studies or in Bible studies to hear the different perspectives. Because I'll tell you, with every Bible study we've done, Shannon and I, or Tabitha and I, or just me, have been like, I didn't think of things like that. I didn't look at it like that. I didn't see that. Or Tab's real good about coming up in 2 seconds with a whole sermon. I'm not that way. I gotta study. I gotta write it out. I gotta read it. But I think we can all learn from each other, and we can see things different ways. The Bible might be written in black and white, but it's not a black and white book. Like, there's so much story and background. You can't take one verse, which is what a lot of people, exactly, perspectives are great. A lot of people try and take one verse and then they're stuck on that one verse, and that one verse is the thing you have to listen to. And I'm like, but it's not really. It's not about just that one verse. That's not the only thing that you can hold on to. And that one verse isn't going to save you. Not literally. It is. It's definitely how we learn and grow. So we're going to move on to day 2. And it is titled Providence, and it is from Ruth 2:1-3. And it starts, in so many ways, the book of Ruth is about divine providence. It reminds us that God is working even when we cannot clearly see. His sovereign hand is working for us. These first 3 chapters of 2 give us a glimpse at what happened. Or luck, but it's not luck. And it goes on to say, we know that with God, things do not happen, and that as his people, we have no need to depend on luck. It's never just going to happen to us. If something good is there, it's given. It's not. My work situation, I thought, was horrible, and I thought that it was going to break me. But in actuality, me quitting that took me to a better position within my company with better people to surround me, and it brought me back to God, because I wasn't living in constant anger and frustration. And so sometimes the things that you think are going to be the worst for you end up being the best. And it's so hard to see that when you're in that. You got anything there, Brandy or Tab?
I have so much, but I just don't know how to put it into words. So go ahead, Tab.
Well, I'll keep reading. You kind of make some notes or something about you want to talk to. It is the stories of the Bible. It's the best thing in learning how they all connect.
I love that line in there where she said, we do not need to know what God is doing to know that he is doing something. I think that is so powerful. I was thinking about the bitterness thing. And the thing is, we can't break bitterness without Boaz. Because that's what happened. And because week 2, day 2 is called Providence. And this is where she begins to glean in the field of Boaz. So Naomi's still bitter at this point, but now it says Ruth found herself in a field that belonged to Boaz. And I think this is where bitterness, because those roots begin to be pulled up. Because
I actually kind of like that verse. We can't break bitterness without Boaz.
Yeah, you can.
Oh, I like that. See, different things.
Yep. a good line.
It is.
Yeah, I like that too. And before Ruth even arrives in Bethlehem, God had already positioned Boaz, right? He
Mm-hmm.
positioned him in that place. He wasn't a stranger. He's not someone Ruth had to convince or persuade to do, anything to become his family. And just in Naomi's situation, the same thing. Like God had provisions for her. She just didn't see it yet. And I think that's applicable to all of our lives.
It 100% is. And then that goes on further because it says Ruth and Naomi came back to Bethlehem with nothing. But back in Leviticus 19:9 through 10, all of our favorite book of the Bible, God has provided a way for the poor and the sojourners to work for food by gleaning in the fields of Israel. Ruth wouldn't have been able to do this if that hadn't been started then. And I think, to me, that's actually very powerful because what we're doing today can lead somebody else to glean in their own fields.
Yes.
And to me, that's just extremely powerful. God is generous with us. He loves us, but we are supposed to be generous. We are supposed to share with others. And I think that sometimes we forget that. I know that I did. He gives us that Hesed love, and we're supposed to give that too. And then it says Boaz is a man of honor and character. And unfortunately, back then and today, there's not a whole lot of that. Even with the men that do have that, they kind of stay quiet. It's the culture then with how the women didn't really have a say. Now I almost feel like it's flipped, and sometimes men are like, I'm just going to be quiet because they think I'm a bear, or I'm worse than a bear, or I'm all of these things. And I think we we've just taken God out of so much of our lives that we're just broken, and he needs us. And God uses women, and he uses broken women. And boy, I was broke. I was I was almost completely in half. Um
Yes, and that's an example of God providing through
mhm.
another person. Sometimes his provisions come through other people. In this situation, it came through Boaz's obedience. That's really weird saying that. But his willingness to honor the weak, and his character, and he was so faithful to do the right thing. That willingness went above and beyond, but God provided that through him, provided to them through him. And that's sometimes we don't see that, and we need to acknowledge that. And it's great that so many people do see Boaz, because you ever hear people say, I need to meet a Boaz, like
Uh-huh.
women looking for a man,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's funny. And I think that comes back to that.
I think it does too. And then it says Ruth is an example of a Proverbs 31 virtuous woman, but Boaz is described as the virtuous man. And where I want to be like Ruth is, it says Ruth did not sit home and sulk. She went to work, she did what she could, and she trusted that God would show up for her. She was from Moab. She did not know God. She she knew Naomi, and she trusted Naomi and followed and found God, even through Naomi's bitterness, which is a huge thing to me because she wouldn't have. Well, I can't say she wouldn't have. Maybe she wouldn't have. We wouldn't know about it. um, but
And it shows us those fields were dangerous because later you read that Boaz is like, give her extra food, have no man touch her. So that tells us like that protection was already in place over her because those
mhm,
other fields, those were dangerous. It was tough out there in those streets, you know?
yep, definitely. Um, and this, I love when they tell us the Hebrew words and we go through it. So, Hebrew here is called, I think it's Chen, and it's closely related to Hesed. And Chen is most often translated as grace. So it was by God's sovereign grace that Ruth would find grace in the eyes of Boaz, which also very powerful to me. And I love that they put, you have to be careful not to over romanticize the story and let our familiarity skew the views. Because she didn't go to the field thinking she was going to find a husband. That was not her purpose. She wasn't going out there saying, "Oh, I hope I find a man out here in these streets." She was, she was just trying to get fed. She was,
She
she
wanted
was,
some wheat in those.
yeah, yeah, she wanted some wheat.
She wanted some
She
wheat.
She was just trying to get fed. She wasn't looking for Boaz. Boaz found her because that's what God wanted. Um, she had no idea what was to come, but she did what she could. She was faithful to God in the small and everyday tasks and trusted that he would be faithful to her. And to that, I say to the women who know who God is and who know who Jesus is, how can Ruth, who did not have a clue, trust him with everything? And we're over here like, I'm not sure. I think I can just handle this bit on my own. I can handle this problem. I don't need you in it. You coming in it's making it worse. We do that. Even if you don't realize you do it, I promise you do it.
Yeah, I think Ruth's entire story is built on that, what you just said. She doesn't
Mm-hmm.
do anything dramatic or, she doesn't, speak out this powerful speech or do anything. She just shows up and does the small, like unglamorous things that people overlook.
Mm-hmm.
And if we look at Luke 16:10, it says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. That is just amazing. I love that verse. And yeah, we have to first, trust, we have to first do good with the small things that we have. And that's what she basically did. And I love that about her story.
Yeah, because she doesn't take the small things for granted. And I think that we
Right.
tend to do that just as humans in general. We forget that the small things matter sometimes, that we
Hmm.
want this big shiny thing. And you're forgetting that this glass of water in front of you is probably one of the most important things you can have in your life. Um, so,
I mean, just when you spoke about gleaning, I mean, she gets up to go glean. Okay. That's not a big, dramatic, impressive act. That's just her showing up to work. That's working a job, literally, that everyone else had basically rejected. So gleaning is a job for the poorest of the poor, basically. And Ruth does
mhm.
it. And she does it with excellence and she does it faithfully. You know, hold on, I'm got to mute because Alexa's about to charge.
Oh, go ahead. So it says we see here in Ruth that we know we need to look further. I am reading wrong. I'm gonna start that again. We see that here in Ruth, and we need not look any further than the cross to see that Jesus died for us while we were yet sinners. Romans 5:8. The darkest night of the crucifixion brought forth the brightest light of redemption. I feel like that needs to be a tattoo or something. We can trust him in our situations as well. We may not know what he's doing, but we can be sure that he is working for us. He wants us to succeed. He wants us not to fail. And we tend to make our own selves fail because we think we can do it all without him. We may not know what the future holds, but we can know the one who holds the future is holding us.
Oh, that was so good. You gave me chills. Ruth's story really is a preview of what the gospel truly is. It's like
Mm-hmm.
a smaller version of what Jesus did on the cross. Because Ruth's redemption came through what? Darkness. Naomi's through brokenness. Ruth lost everything. It's the same thing. In that darkness, the Redeemer shows up and changes everything. And that's the gospel. That's Jesus. Like you said, I don't know how you said it. Would you say the darkest night?
Oh, it's
Um,
that. Yeah, it says we might not know what the future holds, but we can know that the one who holds the future is holding us. and the darkest night of the crucifixion brought forth the bright light of redemption. I didn't say that, by the way. That's one of the lines. It wasn't me. I wish I could take credit for that because I was like, oh, that's good. I read it quite a few times. Yeah. The darkest night of crucifixion brought forth the brightest light of redemption. And my favorite is just, we don't know what the future holds, but we know the one who holds it is holding us. And that's just unbelievably powerful. He controls everything and he wants us to be there. He wants all the souls in heaven. I'm just saying, that's where he wants
if we
them
really
all.
think about it, I'm not sure if you talked about this last week, but Boaz was a kinsman redeemer. That I think that basically means because he was related to Ruth, he had legal right to redeem her. Once when she was left alone, right, Tab?
Yeah,
Okay,
we
so
haven't got
if
to
we look
that
at,
yet. They
oh,
start talking
sorry,
about it. Oh no, you're fine.
okay,
You can keep talking
I
about it. I was
was
just
just
letting you know we didn't
I
talk
was
about
just
it next
thinking,
week.
yeah, I'm like that just reminds me of another like shadow of what Jesus is, because he was you know because what Boaz done, it was basically not the same. I'm not at all comparing Jesus to Boaz or whatever, but he protects us and he protected Ruth and he protected them, and he made provisions for them, and he is willing to make that sacrifice. He sacrificed pretty much anything, not anything, but he gave what he could, right? He was like open to them.
Yeah. Now that's actually what we're getting ready to start on day 3, and it says in here, it actually says exactly that Boaz is a picture of or a type of Jesus figure. We see this picture of Jesus right from our first interaction. Jesus makes outcasts of his daughters. He does not identify us by our past, but he gives us new identity in himself. And Boaz was that to Ruth. He was the first light to her. He was really the first kindness that she had. I'm going to start a little bit higher, but it actually talks specifically about that. So Ruth, it says Ruth was working in the fields. This is day 3, guys. It is page 45, and it's titled Grace Upon Grace. It says Ruth was diligently working in the fields when Boaz arrived on the scene. Boaz inquires about Ruth. He's told that she is the Moabite woman who had come with Naomi back to Bethlehem, and she asked to glean in the fields. So he speaks directly to her. He doesn't call her a foreigner. He speaks to her as a person and honors her dignity by calling her my daughter. And I was like, oh, okay.
I love day 3.
Yeah. I was like, oh, okay, I got you. And I love that it specifically says he doesn't identify her by her past. And then they bring up his mama. Is this perhaps Boaz has a special sympathy for Ruth, who was a foreign woman who had placed her faith in Yahweh? Boaz's mother was a woman by the name of Rahab. We learn of her in the beginning chapter of Joshua. Rahab had once been a prostitute, but she placed her faith in the God of Israel, and God would see her faith and not her past. She called on God's hesed love to meet her in her sin and became a part of God's people by faith. When the walls of Jericho fell, Rahab and her family were saved. That same Rahab is the mother of Boaz. And I was just, I know the story of Rahab. We know that story. But just reading it, and it just stands out to me because so often, I think especially as women, I'm not a man, so I can't tell you, but I do know, especially as women, we're so hard on ourselves about the things that we do wrong. Um, or that we know we shouldn't have done, but we did anyway. And I think it's harder. I know it was harder for me to forgive myself than some of the men in my life. They're like, oh, I'm fine. I'm good. But we talked about during the Lent study, you need help with the question, how is the gospel the ultimate example of good coming from bad because of God's grace? Okay, we'll hop back to it. Let me get through this and then we'll talk about that question, Taylor. So I love all of that about Rahab, and maybe that is why Boaz was kind of drawn to Ruth, and I think that it might have something to do with it, but I really don't. I don't know. I just think that he was a good man because of where he came from. And
I mean, it's powerful
yeah.
because you have to think about the Hebrew people. A lot of times they were like, we're up here and the rest of those people, we hate them. You know, like a lot of times they didn't like to have other cultures intermingle. And so I think God knowing that and having that history of Boaz, he was less quick to judge because of his mama. It was like, she was a prostitute. That was my mom. She was not of these people. She was grafted in by the God of heaven and earth. So now he becomes a believer. His mama has a past, but she has been brought in, and here he is doing well. And so it's easy for him to look at Ruth, look at Ruth and be like, you know what? I can see past it. And it's just such a powerful picture because it's like goes to the Gentiles being grafted in through the blood of Jesus. You want to talk about the foreshadowing of the gospel. This is every tribe and nation being able to be grafted in because of what Jesus did. And this is just a little hint of what it looks like before it happens.
And I think that that's why it's so powerful. And this is one of the reasons that I tell people when they're like, I don't know where I should start. And I'm like, start in John, start in Matthew, Mark, Luke, learn Jesus and then go back. Because I think when you know the Gospels and then you read the Bible, you can see the foreshadowing. I think if you start in Genesis, you miss things. That is me personally. If you don't believe that, that's okay. We can all be different. It's fine. I just think when I started in October of last year, when I came back, because I left home for a bit. when my dad said, "Come home," I was like, "Okay, I'm back. What we doing?" And I started in John. I had been seeing the 40-40 challenge, and I was like, "Well, let me just do this." And I think for that reason, John was always a powerful book to me, and that's why I think that's what 40-40 was doing. God was like, "You need to be here." But
testimony. So you're sharing it. I said it's your testimony and where you started, so you're sharing it.
Yeah, so I also just feel like when I talk to people, sometimes they get lost in Genesis and Exodus. And I think if you have the base of the Gospels and you get to know Jesus, you can understand and actually see how kind of amazing Genesis and Exodus are, because there's so much there. I think if you don't understand what is foreshadowing and what is coming, you kind of miss some of it because you're just like, oh, this can't really mean anything. So just a suggestion from me to you. Brandy, do you or Tab want to answer Taylor's question before we go on?
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it. What was her question? Let me see.
And she said she needs help with the question, how is the gospel the ultimate example of good coming from bad because of God's grace?
Because of death and life. Because he was brutally killed for us to have life. That's the ultimate bad. Being flipped on its head, hell and heaven being, it's ultimate battle.
Taylor, first, there's not a way for you to answer these questions wrong. these questions in this specific study are very much personal questions, and it's what it means to you. And I fully we'll share answers and stuff in this one, but the Ruth study questions, it's probably the first questions I think that are the most personal questions that we've done in a study, because it's very much about what it is about you. I promise you're not answering it incorrectly, and your answer is correct. Everyone's broken, and yet we can still show how good God is an answer to that question. Tabitha's answer is correct as well. I don't think that you can answer any of these questions wrong, because it really is kind of what it means to you. I understand wanting clarification on it, but please don't feel like you can answer these wrong.
Yeah, I think the gospel is grace because that offers us something that we truly can't earn. Ruth earned Boaz's attention through her faithfulness and obedience and her character. But we can't earn Jesus's love. We can't work hard enough. We can't be good enough. We can't do anything because Titus 3:5 will tell us that he saved us not on the basis of our deeds, we have or something like that, and on the basis of our deeds. So we're saved by mercy and not by our works.
But it
You
allows us
understand
to
what I'm
get to
saying?
work.
Yeah, it allows us to get to work. Yeah, you both listen. I love when we finish each other. It was a perfect melding. Great. So I just want anybody who's listening. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. No, it means the entire. It means the entire Bible. I was just talking about like my specific testimony. It took me a minute to know the MMLJ. I love that though. I'm about to take that. The question though isn't just talking about the gospels in the Bible. It's just talking about the gospel, the Bible, the entire Bible is what the question is. That's how I took it anyway. And again, we can take things wrong. I got you. It just took me a second. I was like, MML, what? And then I was like, oh, Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. But yeah, if anybody who is,
the first four books,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Gospels.
Man, I
And
just
then there's
went
the
through a whole
gospel
spiel.
story.
Yeah. What is it, Brandy?
I said I just went through that whole spiel. I didn't even know what she was talking about.
Yeah.
I know now her question.
Yeah. Oh, you're welcome. We love you too, girl. So we're going to continue on. But yeah, anybody who's listening, if you're doing any Bible study, there isn't a way that you can answer it wrong if it is a personal question. The only way you can answer something wrong is if it asks you, what does John 3:16 say? And you say it says some crazy nonsense. Let's just not be crazy. But you know what I mean when I say you can't answer it incorrectly if it's a personal question. So don't feel that way. But I know any of us or Shannon or anybody, like if you want to shoot me a message at any time, I'll be happy to talk to you. I don't know everything. I don't know all the answers, but I know where to find them.
Hey, can I say one thing to
Yes,
Taylor?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so the word gospel actually comes from the word God spell, which means good news. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John are called the gospels because they're telling the good news of Jesus Christ and his redemption. And did you fall over because I said something wrong?
Oh no, you were exactly right. And I have let me see. I have the pictograph for the good news. I'm gonna read it to you.
Yeah.
It's so awesome. So when you break down the picture, the story, the picture story of good news, the word is basar, and this is the picture story. It's so beautiful, so powerful. I love it. It says, pointing to a message of a ruler or shepherd entering the dwelling to destroy chaos or burdens and breathe new life into it.
I love that. And that's in I wrote it down. Hold on, let me get back to it. That's in the Paleo Hebrew pictogram. Is it pictogram or pictograph?
Yeah, pictograph.
I keep saying, I knew I was saying the wrong word.
But yeah, and I wanted to share another pictograph real quick before I get off here because it's so good, because about the Hesed, the Hesed love, the steadfast love, the chase you down love. And he's chasing all of them. He chased Rahab down. He chased Naomi down. He chased us down. But it's so beautiful. It said Hesed and Chin, which is grace. Those are very similar because they have some of the same pictograph, some of the same root words in them. And so Hesed, I'll just give you the short version. The Hesed is a wall or a fence that acts as a support and provides a doorway to refuge for the vulnerable.
Oh, I love that.
Isn't that beautiful? It gives open access to the presence of God and shelters you regardless of your circumstances.
Can you type the Paleo Hebrew pictograph thing in just in the chat in case somebody wants to go look at anything?
What, like that, all that, or just the word Paleo Hebrew?
Just where what they can look up so that they can find like the pictographs and stuff.
If you say Paleo Hebrew pictograph for a word or a saying, it'll take you anywhere. It'll take you in Google or whatever. But
yeah. And that's and like we always say, don't trust us. Look it up, find stuff. And just like there are different translations, there's going to be different wording and things, just like Bethlehem means house of bread, and some things it means house of meat. So we always say double check us. We're not perfect people, but everything that we've looked up on those pictograph things, because I was looking some of them up, I just couldn't remember it. I did it that night, and then I must have cleared my stuff, and I was trying to look some more up today, and I was like, what was it? Because I kept putting pictogram. Yeah. And I was like, that is not it.
Yeah. Pictograph, which is picture, but it's Paleo Hebrew. And so I thought that was so beautiful, this boundary, this wall of protection. That's what Boaz built for Ruth to glean, and it's what he builds later when he becomes the kinsman redeemer, like Brandy was talking about, which we'll get to later. But I love that it connects with grace, which is day 3. So it's grace upon grace. That is what the name of day 3 is. And so grace, the pictograph, it talks about being a wall, just like that steadfast Hesed love. But this time it's a wall or fence that allows for sprouting, like something to sprout and continue to the next generation. So I love this. So God is gonna, not only is he this wall of protection so that we can be in his presence, so that we are protected in the times that we're vulnerable, he also allows us to grow in that space. This first sprouting is for generational multiplication and moving on. And it's also, the grace is also called living protection. And so I think that is so powerful to understand. Like this, when we're talking about grace, this is, who's on here with us?
Oh, Taylor.
Hello.
Hey.
I said her, that's Shannon's daughter.
I know. She sounds just like her mama. So anyway, I thought that was so powerful, this picture of the walls, one to cover us and one to let us thrive generationally.
Yes, I love that. And thank you. Tell your friend who is up, thank you for letting you come on with us. And I hope y'all have a good rest of your last night with her this month.
Thank you, guys. I'll talk to you later. You guys have a good night.
Good night, honey. By the way, I started yours and Gabe's Bibles today.
Yay. Okay. I'm excited. All right. Blessings, ladies. Sorry, I have to jump off early. I have a friend in town. So tonight's her last night. So I'm going to go hang out with her.
Yeah, you should.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey, Taylor. Thanks for joining us.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Of course. So we're on day 3. So So Tab just talked about the Hesed love. Do either one of y'all want to talk about any of that before I read a little bit more?
I do have a question. I feel like I'm a week behind. So like, today is week 2, day 1. So, but you're going through the whole week too. So do I need to just catch up and get a week ahead?
Yeah, so what we do because since it's a 4-week study and we're doing the Bible journaling with it, we're doing our study on Monday night is the whole week. So we're doing day 1 through 5.
So I need to jump ahead this week. That way next week I'll be ahead.
Yeah. So Friday night when we do the journaling, we're going to journal all of week 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what it is. So you're not behind. It's just the way that we broke this one down so that we could include the Bible journaling with it, which this week I hope I do better on. But yeah, I'm very excited. Speaking of that, anybody who's in here, our next one will be the Esther study. It's currently only 7 cookies in my showcase. I definitely ate more than 7 cookies for this. So 7 cookies is pretty good if you want to grab it. It was definitely more than that for me. But that will be our next one. And Esther's a 3-week study. And that will almost get us to the Low Conference, which I'm hoping we can do some lives from there also. Okay, so we're talking about the Hesed love, and then it says this goes back to what Brandy was talking about. Yes, plus that. And then it goes back to what Brandy was talking about. So it actually says in this unfolding story, we begin to see that Boaz is a picture or a type of Jesus. We will see this picture of Jesus right from our first interaction. Jesus makes outcasts daughters. He does not identify us by our past, but he gives us a new identity in himself. And this encounter with Boaz is likely the first ray of hope in a foreign land for Ruth. Boaz would bestow dignity and honor on Ruth by calling her to eat and drink freely and by protecting her and commanding the men not to touch her. First off, how much crazy sauce is it that somebody has to tell somebody else don't touch them? We still have to do that today. You can't touch them. It's nonsense. Boaz was showing favor to her. He showed her grace, and he was showing her a Hesed love that had been shown to him by God. His treatment of Ruth is a beautiful picture of who Jesus is to us. He calls us to eat at his table, and he calls us to drink the water of life. And how amazing is that? Oh, thank you, Diana. It was so, what I mean by that is it was the first time I ever did a live journaling. So I'm used to it just being quiet and it being me and me just sitting here and thinking and trying to figure out what I'm going to do. So this week I've decided and I've written some notes on how I want to go through the journaling because I was so worried I was just talking more than actually, and I was like, I didn't really journal like I normally journal. So I want it to be more like I actually do it to help people, but thank you. I'm glad you all were there. And I honestly forgot to post it. I meant to post it Saturday morning. I had it downloaded and everything, and I just forgot to upload it. So that was my fault. And
I want to just say for those
yes,
who might not know, the word Hesed is a Hebrew word that translated into one English word, which means covenant love. It means like steadfast love. And it's basically loving kindness, mercy. It means the kind of love that's loyal and faithful. And Hesed is the love that keeps showing up throughout this entire book of Ruth. And I guess if you would ask someone, like people have asked me before, what's the difference? So, what makes Hesed love different? So, regular love is basically based on feelings. Regular love comes and goes, right? Regular love is conditional, but Hesed is different. You know, it's a covenant love, it's a promise, it is something that is a commitment.
Well, and that's what Ruth gave Naomi without even knowing she was doing it. I love that. I love it. I love it. I love it. Day 3 is one of my favorites thus far. It also goes on to say, Jesus brings beauty from our brokenness. And I just want to read that one more time. Jesus brings beauty from our brokenness. And sometimes it's very hard to see that when we are in the brokenness, but I promise you it's coming. If you are faithful and you believe and you trust in Him, the beauty is going to come from it. It's just not going to be in the way that you want it to be. I promise you His way's better. When I'm going through it, it's not so easy for me to see either. But I promise you it's coming. It's so hard when you're in the brokenness. But one of the amazing things about TikTok is we can all find someone who can pray for us. We can find a community like we've found here. And to be quite honest, I'm one of the smaller communities, but I love it. I love that you guys are here listening. And we never know when we do these. I don't know when I do the morning devotionals. You never know when somebody might hear just the one thing that they need to hear. It may not be me talking. It might be Brandy or Tab or Taylor if she wants to, or Shannon, or any of you who may want to jump on and chat with us. As long as I know you're not, as long as I know you love Jesus, I'll have you on.
Yeah. And people, I mean, if you're broken, just remember this. This isn't the end of your story. Your brokenness is just the beginning of your redemption. Like Ruth was broken
Amen.
and she lost everything, but her brokenness is the foundation of her redemption, and her pain becomes a place where Boaz finds her. And then we all know where it goes from there.
Mm-hmm. And this line that is in the study says, in the fields of Boaz, Ruth came poor and hungry, but she left with more than enough. God does that for us every
That's
day.
beautiful.
He does it for us every day. But for me, could you imagine being Ruth? Honestly, even being Naomi. She came back feeling like she was broken, and Naomi gets, honestly, a huge blessing from this. She sees love, and I think Naomi sees how blessed she actually is through all of this. Sometimes I think Naomi gets lost in it, but she's very important, because without her, Ruth wouldn't be there to meet Boaz. Boaz wouldn't have met Ruth. And their story, it's just beautiful. Sometimes I can't find the words, guys. But I just love that she came poor and hungry, and she leaves with more than enough. And I promise you, if you lay it at His feet, He will fill you back up. He's done it for me when I don't deserve it, but He gives it anyway. Boaz was a demonstrator of the grace of God to Ruth, and we have that opportunity to demonstrate God's grace to those around us. And that's our job. I've said so many times, and we joke, because I don't even know if Taylor was on that night, but we were doing the Lent study, and I'm full of evangelism and discernment. Those are my big gifts. And I just was, Shannon and Tabitha started laughing because I was like, I want all the souls. And they just started laughing, and I'm over here like about to cry, trying to figure and they're just laughing at me because I literally forgot to say in heaven. They knew what I meant, but it was a good break for me because I had been crying for a minute too long and I needed to get out of the tears. But um, my goal in doing these is to make sure that I'm sharing Jesus with people. I want to be in heaven and to see rows of people that are there because one person heard me sharing Jesus and they opened a Bible or went to church. If it's one person, I'm still going to be happy because that means there's one more person in heaven. But I would love for it to, you never know when you share Jesus with somebody what that's going to start. If you don't believe me, look at the Robertsons. Like,
Yes.
they're like, you never know what it's going to start. It starts with one person in a family that can change generations. And that's literally all I can hope for is that us having these conversations, doing the Bible studies, doing Bible journaling, answering questions is that we can share. And if I can bring one, and then that one can bring one, and that one can bring one, the same thing with Taylor and Brandy and Tab and Shannon and you, Girly and Diana. If we can all just bring one, and that one can bring one, just imagine how crowded we can make heaven.
Yes.
And
And I
and
want to say that I know, I'm sorry, go ahead.
go ahead, no go.
I mean, I know it's some people might be sitting here thinking, wow, it was so easy to say. Yeah, just trust and, trust that God's going to, redeem you or whatever. And we all fight that. We all have,
Mhm.
hurt and struggle. And sometimes we don't know how to trust God. Like, how do you trust Him? How do you just give it all? And you just got to start small. And I'm learning that because that's one of my struggles. Just start showing up, start small. Don't wait until you feel better. Don't wait until you understand because guess what? You'll never understand. Show up when you're broken, show up when you're scared, and show up when you're terrified and when you have no answers and no clue what to do. Just show up and take steps and choose. You have to make that choice to choose faith and let Jesus do the redeeming.
Yes, you do. Amen. So I'm going to read the questions, and Taylor or Brandy, if y'all want to answer, feel free. Jesus gives us a new identity. And what things are we tempted to find our identity? And I think this day and age, there's a lot of people who find their identity with social media and with how people like them or how popular that they can get. There's a lot of people on social media who claim to know Jesus and be teaching you about Jesus, and I just want people to I'll tell you every day, double check me in that book. If they're not talking about Jesus or they're not telling you to double check them, just, pay attention to the things they say and the way that they act, because there's a lot of people out there who aren't working for Jesus. They're working for the other side. Um, and it gets concerning when you see so many people thinking that they're following people that want what's good for them and
Right.
they just want to fill their pocket, if that makes sense. I'm not going to lie. I would love if this could be my job. I will fully not lie to you. It is not, though. I, I have a 6 to 5 job. If I'm lucky, it ends at 5. And, I'm blessed to have that. But honestly, at the end of the day, none of that matters. And all I want is to share with you guys. And doing these studies and journaling brings me a lot of joy. And I believe it brings Jesus joy. And if it helps even one of you, then I'm doing my job. And it's the best job. But I do think a lot of people find their identity in social media and in what other people think about them. I definitely used to care what people thought about me and didn't want people to say, oh, she's my husband was worried. Actually, he was like, "Why are you replacing every shirt that you own with Jesus shirts or scripture shirts?" He goes to church with me. He loves Jesus, but he was like, "You don't have to replace everything you own." And I was like, "Listen, I am learning for myself that if I am wearing a shirt or I'm wearing a hat when we go out, I am more conscious and I make sure I have a face that sometimes tells everything, and it helps me keep my face in check too." I'm not gonna lie, because sometimes there people out in public are not nice to deal with, and it does make me remember they're seeing me as someone who loves Jesus. I need to make sure that that's what they see, because we can all fall, but my goal is to not do that and to be more present in the day and when I'm there. So then he was like, "Oh, that makes sense. You can keep getting your packages."
And you never know, like, you could be walking out of a restaurant with a Jesus shirt on, and somebody that you don't know be having a bad day, and they could see your shirt and read the word Jesus on it, and then they could save themselves that night. That could be their turning point, you know?
Yep, I was wearing a shirt. We were actually at Bass Pro, and I was wearing a Fruit of the Spirit shirt, and this man was like, "What does a strawberry have to do with?" And then he read the verse, and he was like, "Oh, I get it. Do you know what this means?" And so, like, I had a 45-minute conversation with this man just sitting on the bench at Bass Pro. He was waiting for his wife, and I was waiting for my husband. We just sat there and had a conversation. You never know. You never know who's going to see it. The amount of people, my husband does reselling, the amount of people that see my hat or my shirt and are like, "I love that. What does that mean?" I was wearing a shirt that said, "If Paul was here, we'd be getting letters." And somebody asked me about it, and then I told them, and they were like, "Did he write all of that?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And she was like, "Now I got to go read." And to me, that was just like, "Oh, I did my job today." Like, and the shirt did it. So, yeah, it's little things. I always have taught my kids, smile at people. Don't go up to strangers or whatever necessarily, but smile at people, because you never know. That smile can save somebody. Somebody smiling at me has saved me on days when life could have went a different way. And somebody just smiling and being kind. And I think you add a Jesus shirt or scripture on top of it, and you don't know who you could help. Sorry, guys, I got off on a
Becky, I
tangent.
wanted to say something before we end because I'm not sure how much longer. But, sadly, the world, especially the younger generation, is looking to social media and
Mm-hmm.
media in general, TV, music, all that for acceptance and approval. They're on their phones. Not saying adults don't do it. I'm not calling out, the younger generation only, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we're on our phones scrolling at midnight looking for validation from total complete strangers. We're comparing our bodies to these filtered images. We're trying to perform, you know, we're trying to outperform other people that don't even really truly exist.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have AI. We don't even know what's real anymore, you know, because, and it's heartbreaking to me
Mm-hmm.
because, so many have been told that their identity lives on the screen
Mm-hmm.
or lives in their value or what kind of purse they carry or what kind of car they drive or what kind of shoes are on their feet, and they're chasing that day after day and post after post, and they're just dying for acceptance from people who don't even know them and care about them. They don't care about them at all.
You're
That's the
right.
audience they're trying to chase.
Mm-hmm.
And the real problem is they've been taught to find their identity in all the wrong places,
Mm-hmm.
like in filters instead of truth and in metrics because they're, tracking their analytics and how many likes do they have and a stranger's opinion instead of God's love. It's just this temporary validation instead of eternal worth. And I wish I can get that in the heads of so many people
Yeah, it's so
because I was
hard.
there before.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've fully been there. I mean, I have never been the skinny or the classically pretty girl. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I don't think I'm ugly. Jesus thinks I'm delightful. I'm good. But I've never been that skinny, classically pretty girl. I just never have. So I was always very hard on myself, and I always felt so bad about myself because everything showed me that I was ugly, basically. And I think that unfortunately that's gotten worse because just because of social media, I didn't have to worry about social media. Listen, I was born in 80, guys. Like, I didn't, going through high school, we had a Nokia phone towards the end and pagers. That was the extent of ours. Nobody was bullying over social media, nobody was talking stuff. I was good. But kids now, it's not just face to face stuff, it's DMs and messages, and it's just sad to me. So we can do what we can to protect them and to teach them, but really we just need to bring Jesus back into people's lives. We let God be taken out of everything in our life, and if I can bring it back to one person, that's all I want to do. I'll go. We just squirreled for a little bit. I'll go back to the book. We still have day 4 and 5 to do. Taylor and Brandy, if either one of you have to leave, I completely understand because we just been kind of sidetracking, but I need to get through 4 and 5 too. And I'll probably sidetrack some more because that's what I do. So day 4 is titled Shalom, and it is regarding Ruth 2:11 through 16. And it reads, when Ruth questioned the grace and favor that Boaz was showing her, he responded to her with grace. He had heard of her character and all that she had done for Naomi. He did not view her as a foreigner because she was a woman who had been converted. He spoke to her as a daughter of Israel. Back in verse 8, he had told her to keep close to his young women. This is the same Hebrew word that was used in Ruth 1:14 as clung, which was denoted covenant commitment. Boaz was telling her, you are one of us now, which I also just think is fully powerful because that was not common. We saw even, look at the disciples. They didn't think the Gentiles were one of us. They were not happy. The you are now one of us, is powerful to me. By her faith in the Lord, she had become part of the covenant community. He prayed beautiful words for Ruth as he recognized her as no longer an outsider, which Boaz is just amazing. This was not a prosperity gospel. It was not that God was in her debt. It was much more beautiful than that. The Hebrew word for repay and full reward is shalem, from the same root as shalom. This word had special meaning to God's people because shalom means peace, wholeness, and completeness. This would not be found in things or in physical provision, but in the provider himself. This is the blessing of the covenant, as Paul described in Ephesians 1:7, the riches of grace. This is what we have because of Jesus. And it's just another way that the Old Testament foreshadows the New Testament. And I fully suggest, even if you have read through the Bible, and I know that we're on Ruth, go back and read the Gospels, read the whole New Testament if you want to, and then go back to the Old Testament, and all of the things that will stick out to you in the Old Testament will blow your mind, especially if you read the New Testament and go back to the Old, because there's so much foreshadowing that nobody could have known then that you see in the New Testament. Ruth clearly points to Jesus. Boaz is clearly doing for Ruth what Jesus did for us. But if you hadn't read the New Testament and you read Ruth, you're not going to get that same kind of context. So just a suggestion. You ain't got to listen to me, but I do suggest it. Do either of you have anything to say about that before I read just a little bit more? No.
I think what you just, what, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I
I'm
can.
sorry. I thought I was on mute. Okay, so, you know, you said the meaning of shalom was
Mhm.
what
Uh,
exactly?
the meaning of shalom means peace, wholeness, and completeness.
Right. And so I just want, like, peace is temporary. Shalom to me is eternal. It's like, shalom is internal and external physically, but peace is just like I don't know, the ceasefire. But shalom is everything in the right places. And that's what God provides us, or Jesus provides us. Like peace from our anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
He offers us shalom. And that's like if you could reference John, where it says, "Peace I leave with you, for peace I give you." That's shalom, and that's not just calm. That's complete wholeness, and that's everything that it should be. And we're out here searching and searching the world for that, and we'll never get that.
We won't. We won't. I love that it's eternal to you. That's great. I do love that. And then we go on a little bit more, and it says one of the most beautiful pictures in scripture is of us coming under the wings of our God. And that is how Boaz describes Ruth. He says that she found refuge under the wings of Yahweh. And that's just the most powerful, because that's how I picture myself. And that's what I try to do now, especially when I am doing, when I'm going through hard times. And I think the fact that I get up every morning and I make sure that I do a devotional, or I at least open my Bible and read some verses, I think that that's very important. If you are in the word, you are more likely to stay with him when trouble hits. I've had some things going on. It hasn't been the easiest bit of time. And every time that I'm praying, I see the wings around me. I just feel the arms and the grace. And if I was not in the word, if I was not doing devotionals, if I was not reading the Bible, if I was not intentionally making him a part of my day, I can tell you there's no way that I would be praying with the peace that I do now, because I wouldn't have the basis for it, if that makes sense. I know that everything is going to be okay one way or another. Oh, thank you. Because it's going to be okay. um, it gives me, if you do nothing but open your Bible and read a couple verses and pray to Him every day, I promise you, you will see a difference in your life. I promise you. You don't have to buy anything. If you don't have a Bible, I know you have a phone because you're on the TikTok. So open it up, go to a Bible app, read a couple verses. I'm a very much paper girl. I love a Bible and pen and paper. I look at the Bibles if I don't have a translation that I want to look at, which I think I pretty much have most of them. But if you are struggling, open your Bible and start reading. Do it every day. I promise you, you will feel better.
I've seen a difference in my life just reading the Bible and opening it every day for the past 2 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks.
I'm telling you, Taylor, it's amazing. And I told you,
And like
I knew something was coming for you.
You did. And I got up like this morning, and so I leave my Bible open on my desk, and I didn't have time to like actually sit down and read it. So, but I felt weird. So I just came over here and walked over here and read like 4 verses because I didn't want to leave my house without reading it this morning.
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. I talked. So Brandy, for the most part, gets in to my devotionals in the mornings that I do, and it's very hard for you guys because y'all are all an hour behind me. So that means it's like 5 a.m. but she gets in most of the time with me. And I will tell you, when I have those days where I oversleep or I'm not feeling good and I don't get up and do it, I feel a difference that day if I don't start in the Bible.
Yeah.
And I have to go and do it. I 100% feel different.
Right.
I was on with your mom and Tab one night when we were doing the Lent study, and I was like, today has felt so off because I have not had a chance until right now to sit down and open this Bible and read. And I will 1000% tell anybody, if you think I'm wrong, pick it up and read it every day for a week. I promise you'll feel a difference.
And to me, there's a difference in like actually opening your Bible, your physical Bible, versus reading it on your phone.
There is.
Like
But
I
there,
feel like I want to
Yes.
open my Bible. I want to open the pages of my Bible to read.
mm-hmm. There is a difference. I want to have physical versions, but my point in saying that is people will give an excuse and say they don't have a Bible. Listen, there are plenty of people that will give you a Bible. My church, I'll send you some. There are plenty of people that you can get Bibles from for free. Go to a yard sale. Most of the time they're $1 or they're free. I listen, I was at yard sales. I picked up this Bible, and this Strong's exhaustive concordance of the Bible. This was
Ooh,
$2.
I wish I had that. If
This
you
was
find another one, please get it for me.
I will. This was $2. Now I grabbed these. I don't need these. I have 12 ESV. But I grabbed these because I make prayer Bibles for people. I'm making one for Shannon, I'm making one for Tabitha, and I'm making one for Tabitha's son. I just finished the one for my bonus grandson. I have some that I'm making for my kids and my other bonus grandkids. So if I can find them at yard sales or something, they're good. It's actually quite sad to me because they haven't been opened. Like, they're brand new. You can just tell the binding is good. So that's sad to me. So I'm going to take these Bibles that didn't get used and make sure that they get used. But there's a million places you can go. Thrift stores have them. You don't have to buy new. You can buy used ones on the rainforest. There are people that give them to you. A lot of churches give them out. Would you say no to, Brandy? Oh, do you
They
think the
asked if a
10.75 is too big? Nope.
no,
I
it's
don't think
better
you
for
can.
your eyes.
I don't think you can have print that's too big.
Dude, I want to print it on my wall in like
Doesn't isn't
28-inch font.
the Bible that your mom's using for her prayer Bible, isn't that 12 points?
It is 12, and I love it.
Yes.
I love it 12.
And that's what
I wish it came in other colors or styles.
mine's at my desk, but I have an NLT version of it that's a rose gold color. I have another one because it's the one that I'm using to make your mom's. But it's on the shelf because I haven't started it yet. I just have all the stuff I want to put in it. Yeah, it's large print. I love large print. Yeah, the ESV 12 point. Yep, we like the 12 point. It's good. The bigger, the better. The small ones, I gotta
Yes.
squint to read sometimes, and I got bad eyes anyway. I'm telling you, Christmas is my favorite time because if I take off my glasses, all the Christmas lights just look like halos. That's the one time of the year I'm glad I'm almost blind. I went all the way to week 3. That would have been bad. So we are on day 4. And that is the Shalom, which we just read. So it says, one of the most beautiful pictures in Scripture is of us coming under the wings of our God. And that shows how Boaz describes Ruth. This imagery is used throughout the Psalms. Psalm 17, 7 through 8, 36, 7, 57, 1, 61, 4, 91:4. And it shows that God is the shelter and security of his children. This also pulls our memory back to the Ark of the Covenant and the wings that sheltered the mercy seat. It is the cross itself with its outstretched arms that points us to the outstretched arms of our merciful God. Oh yeah, Michelle, I can't see period without glasses. I don't know what it's like to I've had glasses for so long. Hi Sephora, how are you? Oh, you are forgiven. We were probably talking anyway. I love the CSB translation. That is what I'm journaling through. This
I
is
like the
currently.
CSB as well.
This is
The
currently my.
ESV is my main translation, but CSB is one of my favorites by far.
I have all. Listen, I think you should have all of them. And Tabitha laughs at me and Shannon because she's like, I got one Bible.
I have all of them too. I can't say
You
anything.
can't find one that you like the way that it looks, Julie.
Oh, Julie, call me or message me. I'll find you one.
Because this is an ESV. It's
Do you have the
gorgeous.
ESV, the Graceland Bible by chance?
I do have that. I have the Graceland. It's right here.
I
And
knew
I
you
also
would.
have Bible and Beads that's making that one for me, as well as a loaded Bible. But this one is, I love this one too. It's the illuminated Bible, and she's gorgeous.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty. I did see that one. I have the ESV large print from Hosanna Revival. It's beautiful, and I love the large print.
Yeah, girly, I take them from the stores from yard sales. I figure I'm probably going to make somebody a hold please. I'm going to end up making somebody a prayer Bible or loading a Bible for somebody. This is the Graceland one, which is also just, I couldn't go without it because she's just pretty.
Yeah, she is stunning.
Uh, I give Bibles away too. I just like to put some information in them because I think if we can give people some key verses that can help them, I just think we're very good at sharing Jesus in churches in general, not my church specifically or your church specifically, but I think we're great about sharing Jesus and getting people to accept Jesus. And then we're like, okay, you got them. Here's a Bible. See you in church on Sunday. And I was never taught how I was never actually taught how to read the Bible. So when I'm making prayer Bibles for people, I'm giving them, oh, I love the creative Bibles too, Michelle. They're beautiful. I have 3 prayer Bibles that I have that are currently made in case I need to hand one out. I just think if you give people a direction or they know, hey, I'm having some anxiety, these verses, you can go to these verses to help them. It's just a great idea to me.
Yes.
So I fully
That's what I think about journaling. A lot of people knock writing in your Bible and journaling, but to me, making it pretty and making it your own, it actually encourages me to get into my Bible and to
yeah,
study
Michelle,
it.
I love it. Yeah. Me too. I used to previously I would journal in notebooks, but I found that I never went back and looked at the notebook. Now I'm in the Bible, so if I go to that
Me
page
too.
and I want to add more to it because I've listened to a Bible study that somebody is leading, or really anything, heard a sermon in church or came across something and I want to go add a new note, it's in my Bible. And then when I'm adding that note, I'm looking at my other ones. I feel more connected. And like I said, I like to make it pretty, but the only thing that you have to have, girl, my handwriting is, I could be a doctor. I promise. Listen.
Me too. Mine's not great, trust me. None of us have the best handwriting, but
I
Kaylee
don't know.
and Miss
Shannon's
Shannon writes pretty.
gorgeous.
Yes, she writes pretty
Look,
too.
girl, I could be in kindergarten. You're good.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. God don't expect you to write beautiful. He just wants us to be in His Word.
See, that's perfect, girly. So I have my prayer Bible at my table. That's at my desk. But yeah, I just feel like I like physical Bibles, but there are people who don't have Bibles. So if you don't have a Bible, don't use it as an excuse. There are apps you can get. They are free. You can Google it. Read passages every day. And I'm going to tell you, if I don't have something specific that I'm going to and I just open my Bible, there is a verse on that page that I needed to see. Well, do you want to go by Sephora or Phyllis? I don't want to call you something you don't want to be called. And am I saying Sephora correct? We're doing journaling through Ruth, so I have a YT page that is the same name as this that I posted the journaling that we did through the first week of Ruth. If you want to go look at it, and we do it live here on Friday nights if you want to watch. You might enjoy it. If you don't, you don't. I think that you would. I think some people get nervous about it. I was when I first saw that people were doing it. I was like, oh, my grandma told me never to write my Bible. But now I took it to Texas and showed her, and she was like, oh, your Bible's really pretty. So I was like, oh, thank you. So that made me happy. Yes, please do, girly. Please do. So we're going to move on. And it says, we can find refuge in the mercy of God, sheltered under His almighty wings. Ruth's life had not been easy, but God carried her through. Boaz speaks of the God of Israel as her God, showing that she was no longer an outcast. Ruth was invited to eat and drink her fill. She came empty, but she would leave full. Oh, I love that. So, am I saying it correctly? I think I am. That's why I said it that way. But so you want me to call you Phyllis? Well, please join us either way. If you want to watch and just see if it's something that you'd be interested in, I'd love to have you. And again, there's, just so everybody knows, there is no right or wrong way to Bible journal. There's not. You can't do it wrong. You're not going to hurt anything. You can't do it wrong. Just, to me, I feel closer to God when I'm doing it, and I feel like I'm more focused on the Word when I'm doing it this way. So something that was very powerful to me in this is that it says Ruth came empty, but she would leave full. The same is true to us. We are completely empty without Him. We have nothing to offer Him. We are empty without Him, and He still wants nothing but to fill us. And in that way, Boaz was Jesus-like to Ruth. We find shalom in Jesus, and it's the only place that we can get it because we can trust Him. We come to Him empty, and He will make sure that we are satisfied. So, the last sentence says He works in ways we cannot see because Jesus is our shalom. And Lord, we need Jesus. I got him and I need him every day. The question says, how do we find shalom in Jesus? And to be quite honest with you, I don't know how to drop you. That feels wrong. So I just hit disconnect for you. Okay, I'll do that. Thank you for coming. I really enjoyed having you. I'm going to disconnect you, but only because you told me to. Good night. So for me, I'm not really sure how to ask that. I just give everything to Jesus and I pray to him in everything. And that is giving me peace. I tried to do too much on my own. Thank you so much, Brandy, for being in here and staying for so long. I really appreciate it. So we come to Jesus with nothing and he fills us. And he has filled me with love and with peace and with patience. I was very angry and held a lot of anger and hurt. And he's not going to say that I'm perfect and that I don't have moments where I don't revert back to that. But he has fully replaced that for me. And I would say probably 95% of the time I'm not thinking about all the hurt and pain. But I do have those moments. Thanks for still being on with me, Taylor. We're going to go on to day 5, which is titled Hesed. And it is Ruth 2, and it's verses 17 through 20. And then that ends week 5. Yeah, Michelle, I was just very, very, very angry. And you could go back to our Bible studies from the beginning of Lent, and you can tell the difference. You can fully tell a difference. And I was loving Jesus then, but you could still tell how angry I was. So we are going to end on day 5. We're doing that now. And then Friday night at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central, we're going to do our live Bible journaling. And that is going to be through all of week 2, which will be Ruth 1:19 through 2:20. I'm very excited about it. I think I have a little bit of a better way to do it this time, just because I learned some stuff doing it the first time live. And I'll go over everything that I finished in my Bible journaling from last week before we get started on it as well. So day 5, again, is titled Hesed. And it reads, Ruth gleaned in the field of Boaz until evening. She returned home to Naomi with a lot of barley and leftover food from her meal with Boaz. It seems Naomi was anxious to hear what had happened and why Ruth was returning with such a bounty. Naomi's questions were coming at rapid fire before Ruth could even have time to answer. Sorry about that. So I think we've all done that or had that done to us where we were talking to somebody and they just got questioning before we can even answer, or vice versa, us doing it to somebody else. So I can clearly see that in my mind. Certainly something had happened that day and Naomi wanted to know what it was. Ruth told her all that had happened, and Naomi's heart immediately started to soften, not only towards Ruth and her situation, but towards the Lord as well. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Naomi speaks of Boaz when she says, may he be blessed of the Lord. This blessing she speaks is more than a shallow #blessed posted on social media. This blessing is God's favor and protection. This was not simply material blessing, but the blessing that God is always working on behalf of his children. Ruth 2:20 is the word kindness. And this is where we see Naomi's heart start to soften as God's faithful love breaks down barriers of bitterness. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I felt it coming. I thought I was stabbing it. And I just love that visual of all of her bitterness melting away, because I will tell you, I had boarded up my heart with hate. There was just a wall around it because I was just so angry, and I feel like it has part of it very quickly melted away, and then my stubbornness. I don't know if any of y'all are stubborn, but I got some stubbornness. My stubbornness was holding on to some of the hurt and pain that I had. And I was like, you don't need that. I need to keep this to protect myself, because I felt like if I could keep these walls up, there would be nobody that could hurt me like that again. And the fact was, me keeping those walls up was hurting me more than those people ever could. I realize how easy it is to say, but I also realize how easy it is to let it go. In the long run, I mean, I'd been angry for a very long time, and I came back to God and started digging into my Bible in October. It's only June. That's not a long time to let go of decades of hurt and anger. And like I said, I'm not full. I'm not perfect. But I am a much better person than I was just in October. I'm a better person than I was in April, because I've let so much. I give it to God. I don't know how else to say it. If you give it to God, he'll take it from you, and you don't have to worry about it. That is his hesed love for us. Ruth's kindness to Naomi was the hesed kind, the covenant, faithful, and steadfast love of God. The kindness Boaz showed Ruth was really the hesed love of God. So Naomi's bitter heart began to melt as she began to see God working for her in faithfulness and in that steadfast love. Sometimes we need to be reminded that he is for us, not against us. Yeah, it's amazing, Michelle, when there are people who have asked me what happened. Most of them are happy for me, but some of them are like, I don't like you. And I'm like, if you just listen to me, you'd feel like me. So I'm still working on some. But yeah, sometimes it's hard for the people around you, and they got used to and they liked that. That's why it's important who you keep in your circles, because sometimes you just got to let people go, and that's not easy to do either. Again, it says we need to be reminded that he is for us and not against us. His ways are much higher than our own. The word hesed is found roughly 250 times in the Old Testament. It's a key word of the Old Testament. It's one of the most frequent descriptors of the character of God. This is who God is. He is the God who pursues covenant with us, a covenant that is utterly dependent on him. He is the God who loves us at our darkest and calls for us to return to him. Naomi was a woman who had wandered from God to the fields of Moab, and yet his faithful love pursued her even there. Even when her circumstances blinded her eyes, he was working through that hesed love for her. Sometimes we get just a glimpse. Sometimes that's all we get is a glimpse. And then it says the realization that Boaz is a redeemer, and soon we will call all that God was, and soon we will see all that God is doing. There will be days when we do not know what he is doing. There will be days when we do not feel particularly blessed. Yet even then, we can trust that he is working. with the eyes of faith, we can look at our life and know that though in those moments we cannot see his hand in our situation, he is there. We can trust him in the turmoil because we know who he is. He is the God who showers us in hesed love, the love we cannot find just one word to explain. His covenant, faithful, gracious, and merciful, steadfast love. So we will choose to trust even when we cannot see. I promise you that especially when you don't see or feel him, he is there. You just have to open the door to him. You have to ask him in. You have to ask him to take it, because he is there and he will take it, because he does not want us to suffer. He does not want us to hurt. I'm just going to say actions have consequences. Our life has consequences. We make choices. We have to give the things to him that he wants to take from us. Sometimes it's not easy to give those things up. I do get it. But I promise you, you're going to be a much happier person if you do. So I'm going to give you the day 5 questions just in case you want to answer them on your own. It's, what is a situation in your life that seemed bad in the moment and yet you saw God bring good from it? What are you tempted to grow bitter about, and how does God's character remind you to trust him? And how should the knowledge of God's love change your outlook on your situation? I cannot believe that we're already on week 2. I'm so excited about journaling this. And I'm very excited to share with you guys. I've got notes, and I think I have a better way to do it so that you guys can enjoy it a little bit more and see a little bit more what I do. I post videos or like pictures of what I've done in some of my journaling. And I think I'll get better at doing them live because it's just a different process for me. But I really appreciate all you guys being here. Taylor, thanks for jumping on, even just listening and talking a couple times. I appreciate it. Just having others on here to chat with. And we will be doing the Bible journaling Friday night at 7 p.m., 6 p.m. Central. If you have any prayer requests, please let me know. If you happen to be up around 6 a.m. Eastern Time, Monday through Saturday, it's between 6 and 6:15. I go live and just do a daily devotional. However, I do post those devotionals later in the day because I do know it's very early. I do highly suggest that you just, first thing you do when you get up in the morning is give praise and thanks. Open that Bible and read some verses. You're going to see a change in your life if you do it. Does anybody have any questions or anything before we log off for the night? This was a long one.
I'd like to go back to one question.
Yeah, go ahead.
It is week 2, day 3. And it's the last question. And it says, Jesus is more than enough for us. List some things that Jesus is better than. Well, I put nothing. But I have this feeling so I don't even know how to word my words, but I know it's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be where I love Jesus and then my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I physically love my kids more than Jesus. And I know it's not supposed to be like that. And I think it's human nature because they're here with me.
Yeah, hold on. I just want to answer this real quick. Michelle, this is currently the Ruth Fields of Grace study. It's by Daily Grace Co. They are here on TikTok. And our next one will be Esther, which is in my showcase. And this is a 3-week study that we're doing next. So, Taylor, I realize that's a hard question because we all do love our children so much. However, so Jesus is more than enough for us. List things that Jesus is better than. I don't think you meant nothing, because Jesus is better than literally everything. I get what you're saying about your kids, but without Jesus, you wouldn't have them.
Right. Exactly.
I do understand what you're saying. Like, I've been there. I'm like, well, nobody's coming above my kids. Like, and that's the truth. Nobody is except Jesus. But I want my kids to be with Jesus. I almost just spilled a drink, girl. Uh, I want my kids to be with Jesus. So if they see me loving Jesus, and I'm praying that it is working, if they see me loving Jesus, I feel like that's going to bring them. Oh, yay. Yay, girl. We just got 400 minutes. Get it, Taylor. I don't know why it's not letting me hit it now. But I do understand what you're saying, but I think that's just a mom response. Because technically it should be Jesus, for me, Jesus, husband, kids. But as a mom, you're like, not my babies. And I think that's just a mom response. Because if you really think about it, you have your babies because Jesus gave them to you.
Right, but I feel guilty about it not being in the correct order. Like, I'm going to start praying about it.
I think that you should pray about it. I think that's a good way to go about it. I don't think that there's anything for you to feel guilty about. I think Jesus knows our hearts. God knows our hearts. God knows that you love him. You've seen a difference in your life. And I think that you'll get there. I think you're stuck on, and I'm going to pray for you as well through it. I think you're just simply stuck on but they're my kids. They're my priority. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, and like my circle involves my kids and my mom and Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. So it's even harder because at one point I was a single mom. So it's even harder, I think, when you are technically a single mom and then you have like just this small group of people and your daily focus is your kids. I think if you pray about it, you'll see that your kids are a top priority, but Jesus is above them. God is above them. Because without God, you don't have them because they came from him.
right.
I just think you're just having an immediate mom response because I've had that. I don't think that you actually mean it that way. I think it's just that you were, if I'm understanding correctly, you're just really now getting back into being with Jesus and being in your Bible and all of that, correct? It's still fairly new.
Yes, ma'am.
That you're back into it. So I think it's just been you and your babies for so long that, and it's had to be your babies are first, that it's just your natural response. I don't think that it's something for you to feel guilty about. I think it's something for you to pray about how to let go of feeling that way and realizing that, yes, Michelle, they belong to Jesus first. We all belong to them. They're gifts. Our babies are gifts to us. I do fully understand what you're saying because I've been there, and it's just something you have to pray for. And I do think that as single moms, that's correct, right? I'm not remembering that wrong.
That's right. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
I just wanted to make sure I wasn't like projecting something on you. I thought we had talked about that. I think specifically because I was one and it was just me and her for so long. It's just, that's what it has been for you for so long, that if you just pray about it, you'll see, oh, he is first. I just can't get past the fact that it's just been me and my babies for so long.
And like something else that I think will help me is me growing up. I went to church and my mama didn't,
Mm-hmm.
and then I brought her closer to God, and so I can raise my kids differently in that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
I can make sure they see Jesus now. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas my mama didn't take me to church. I would catch rides with people if I wanted to go.
Mhm.
And so
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I don't know if you were in at that point or not. I think you were. That's one of the things that I was saying is a regret that I had, because I had my kids were in church, my husband was in church, and then I had so much church hurt. They saw the church hurt I had, so they stopped going because I wasn't going. So that's a regret that I had. Because I wasn't raised in it. Like it's very weird. My grandmother was. So when we were with my grandmother, we were in church every Sunday. But if we weren't with my grandmother, we weren't in church. So I don't count that as being raised in the church, because it was just whenever we were with grandma. But I think if you pray about it a little bit, you'll see that that's just your mom heart feeling like you have to make them priority, when they can still be a priority in your life. Just because Jesus is first doesn't mean that they're not right there. He wants you to love your kids and to raise your kids right, and showing them that Jesus should be first in their life is going to help them
right,
in their life.
first in my life to be able to show them that.
Mm-hmm. And especially, do you have boys?
I have one girl and one boy.
Okay. I think it will help both, because so my son is listen, I'm quite a geek myself, but my son is quite a geek. He didn't really start dating until he was out of high school. So I didn't really have any like the high school teenage girlfriend drama with him, but I had the boyfriend drama with my daughter. So I'm going to say it this way. With girls, I think I wish that I had shown my daughter that if Jesus was first, she never would have tried to make a boy first in her life.
Yeah. I gotta show Mac that. She'll be 7 and Wayne's she's 9 and Wayne's about to turn 7. Wayne is a Jesus lover though. Mac, I have to pray for her.
Listen, she'll get there though, and I think that it'll show Wayne too, to put Jesus first. Both of them, if Jesus is first, the love that you bring into your life will be a stronger love. I never started a relationship that way, Michelle. I had so much church hurt. I was gone for almost 12 years. Almost 12 years. And I promise you, I started going, so we went back to church last Easter, not this past Easter, the Easter before, with one of my friends. Then we went one other time, and then we went at Christmas, and then we went for a few weeks before Easter this year. I was so worried about getting hurt again that I was like, I just need to try different churches and see, and I just felt really that it was the place that I was supposed to be. And I have just learned, I'm like, I cannot hope to expect that these people in the church, I love my church, but I'm not putting any, I don't want this to sound horrible, but I'm not putting like my faith and my full trust into them. It's in God, and He's telling me what to do in this church. Whereas I think the last time I was in church, I expected the people there to be able to support me. And they turned their backs on me when honestly, yeah, Michelle, girl, I've been there. I was, I can't even say this stuff on here because you get kicked off at a TikTok, but I understand. I've had to learn that the church, the religious people, they crucified Jesus, so there's no way that we can expect them to be true to us. So I'm going to church. I love the church that I am in, but I am not, I'm giving everything to God. I talk to people, I fellowship with people, but I'm not putting myself in the positions that I put myself in the last church, because I don't think that we're supposed to. I think we're supposed to fellowship, but our troubles and our problems we're supposed to give to God. There's a select few that I will talk to about things, but I'm not going to let people have the opportunity to give me to take me away from God again, because I think that was fully Satan wanting me gone because I was on such fire. And it worked, and he doesn't get that satisfaction anymore, ma'am. I'm not telling you that you have to go back. That is not my business. It is not my job to tell you. I will tell you that the fellowship is worth it, even if it is just on Sunday mornings. And then there's a lot of people who just come. Yeah, there are. Everybody that is in church does not mean that they are in church for Jesus. There are a lot of people that are in church to pull people away from Jesus. And I think that is forgotten. I think because of my church hurt and things that happened, my discernment is pretty good. Jesus got me this time around. He's like, I got you. I'm going to show you. That doesn't mean that somebody couldn't fool me, because there are people. But yeah, I suggest for people to be in a church and surround themselves, because we are supposed to fellowship with people. Even if you just go to church, have the message, sing the songs, praise on Sunday mornings, and you get your fellowship. It's another reason that I do the Bible studies, because I think there are some people who don't have churches that they can go to and fellowship that they can have, and I want this to be a place that they can come to for that. I will also still always tell you, check me. I don't know everything. I got 5,000 Bibles. You could pick whichever translation you want and check me on it. I don't have 5,000. That was an exaggeration. But just check me, because I can be wrong and I can say things wrong. I'm human. But there's lots of words that you can check me on. I would highly encourage you to look and try and find a place to be, especially if you're just getting back into it, just being in the house of the Lord. I would also suggest to do what I did and try a few out, and not just jump in, because I was scared. I was scared too. I do feel better being there, and I volunteer with the kids, and I go to service, and I talk to some people, and I do like the community stuff, but I'll never put myself in the position that I was in before, because I know that not everybody that is there to support and to glorify Jesus. And that's just a fact. No matter where you go, I don't care where you go. Unless you are up in heaven with Jesus sitting beside you, not everybody there is there for the right reasons. And that's just a fact. I just think that you'll feel better, but I'll pray for you. I'll pray about it for you, and I hope that you can find one. Even try some of the ones that have, like our church has it online, so that you can watch an online service. Try that and see if you like the way that the preacher is, and the sermons, and the way that the songs and all of that, because that matters. You have to be comfortable with it. So maybe try some of the online churches. If there's any that are around you that have online services, try those first, maybe, and just to see if you like them.
Church of the Highlands is a great one, and it's an app on your phone.
Church of the Highlands. So I go to Life Point, which has an app also. So I just, even if that's what you're doing right now, if you can find somebody that is around you, that is near you, that you can do some fellowship with, I just believe that we need to have, I love doing the online, but I'm going to tell you, I can't wait to get off a plane in Alabama and hop in Shannon's car and go to a little conference and just be surrounded by a bunch of women on fire for Jesus. I can't wait. Taylor's mom's probably gonna be like, I don't know. I gotta drive this girl back to the airport. Why did I say I'd carpool? She gonna be like, this is why she doesn't sing online, because in a car, I think I can sing. I think I sound like the people on the radio. But I'm gonna be praying for you, Taylor, just that you can get some clarity in it, because I think that you're all right there. You're right there. I just think that you've got that mama heart on that it's like they have to be priority.
I've been missing them because they're at their dad's for 2 weeks. So I think I have 7 more days until they come back.
Yeah, so you're just having a time.
Yes, and I'm like by myself every day, but I read my Bible and go to work.
Listen, just pray about it. I think that you're already there, that you know that Jesus is first. I think you're just having a mama heart moment.
Yes.
Yeah, and we have those moments, and that's okay. Oh, Michelle, are you in Louisiana? Yeah, we'll be there the 9th through very early on the 13th. Well, not that early. I got a really late flight out of Alabama. So I'll land back in DC and at like midnight. So I took the following day off work too, but just because I didn't want us to have to leave super early. But I'm very excited about it, and I'm going to pray for Michelle that you can find some people to fellowship with near you. Whether it's a church and you do online church and then you just find some people that you can fellowship with locally. I love doing the online and everybody that I'm meeting here. But I do think that it's important to have some live people too. Hello, you can definitely send me a message with your prayer request and I'll be happy to pray for you. But I really appreciate all you guys being here. Taylor, thank you for jumping on with me and for sending it to your mama. Yes, she told me she was doing the VBS, so I appreciate everybody.
She may have offered to help or something.
I think that's what she did. She said because she said she had to do it tonight, tomorrow, and Wednesday. And she said, I completely forgot. And I was like, oh, girl, it's fine. Things happen. But yeah, we'll be here on Taylor is Shannon's daughter. Can you tell, Jodeci?
We look alike too.
You do look alike. It's a low conference. It's it's Sadie Robertson's conference. She does sound just like her. Yeah. So she hopped on with me because Shannon's doing VBS tonight, and Tab had to get off a little bit early because she had somebody at her house, and Brandy was on and she hopped off. We had a whole Sadie Robertson, Phil Robertson, Duck Dynasty. I'll send you some information. I'll send you a link when I get off of here. I will have this one downloaded and uploaded to the YT tomorrow. I promise I will not forget like I did on the journaling. But thank you guys so very much. It's going to be so good. I'm so excited. So Sadie Robertson is Phil Robertson's daughter or granddaughter. And she does low conference. She has a lot of stuff actually. She travels around to different churches. She comes up here. I live near, about 2 hours from Liberty University. She's Willie's daughter, yeah. Phil's granddaughter, and she comes up to Liberty University some, and because she went to school there, so she comes there and preaches some too. So yeah, so it's her conference. So I'm very excited about it. Jodeci was going to go with me and things happened. And now she's going to go to Utah, I think. Is it Utah? I get them confused. Utah, Montana, something. Oh, over that yonder. So maybe next time she'll get to go with us. A bunch of them did. A bunch of them went to Liberty, yeah. But I'm going to hop off here, guys. We've been on for 2.5 hours. I think that's the longest we've gone. Your mom is probably like, I'm glad I went to VBS tonight. Becky just kept talking. But you guys have an amazing night. I am so grateful for you guys being here. I hope to see you either in the devotionals in the morning or on Friday night for our live Bible journaling, which I have a new format to do so that you guys actually get to see the majority of my journaling instead of me just talking. But you guys have a great night. Thank you again, Taylor, and I'll be praying for you guys.
Thank you.
God bless.
Bye-bye.